Foodtastic jerky. This is the best. If I ever open up my shrine again, I'm going to require some Foodtastic jerky as payment. I don't need cash. I just want jerky. This is the best jerky I've ever had. Totally not sponsored, you guys. I don't know who they are. Alright, you guys. Foodtastic jerky. I really just want to do a huge shout out to them. I freaking love them. I discovered them on Facebook because somebody had tagged me on their page. My Shaman Memoirs page too. It's funny. And so, because, you know, I do my Tassie eats on mukbangs and stuff. So I went to this Facebook page and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to order it. I'm just going to see what it's all about. And it has changed my life. I have now become an addict though. This is a pound, you guys. And this is the extra hot. Usually for my boyfriend, I get him just their original because he can't handle the spice at all. Not even the medium. Normally when I have eaten all of mine, I will then eat his. And that's right, I keep it right here all the time. Okay, I have a couple of these. And then I put ghost pepper sprinkles on his jerky because it's not spicy whatsoever. So I put ghost pepper on just my portion. If you guys go to their Facebook page, Foodtastic Jerky, if you spend $40 or more, you get free shipping. And they ship it priority mail through USPS. So my favorite, it is the extra hot. The hot, it is very good. It is like the way a lot of Hmong people like to eat meat with pepper and rice. That is the perfect level. However, you know, I like to eat ghost pepper, so I love their extra hot. Get the extra hot if you love spicy. Now, I heard some people complaining that they don't like the stickiness in the jerky because it's a little sweet. But to me, it tastes like bulgogi jerky. So, you know, like bulgogi has brown sugar in there. And so for me, I don't mind it. And plus, I love it because there have been other brands who make, you know, jerky as well, but they don't make them gluten-free. And you guys, if you ever with somebody who is gluten-free and they can't eat regular food, when you have food that is not gluten-free, oh my God, they're like a ghost. Like they just stare you down like, give me some of that food. So I try to only order gluten-free stuff because then I have a ghost boyfriend. Okay, it's my boyfriend. He will haunt me if I have food that I have ordered and he can't have any. So that's why I loved Foodtastic, because they were the first Hmong company that makes jerky that was gluten-free. And that's why I ordered from them. And I freaking love them. Welcome back, you guys. This is Tassie, and this is my Shaman Memoirs channel. I know I missed last week. I'm sorry, you guys. I've been really busy at work. I mean, these are like 12-hour days, you guys. I have not had a chance, and then I've just been really, really tired. I've had a lot of things to do. I threw a barbecue, and you know, that's a lot of work. So finally today, I am filming, and it is Tuesday, and then I'll push this video out for tomorrow, crossing fingers, so you guys don't have to wait until Thursday. You know, give me a thumbs up if I make this video out by Wednesday. Alright, now I need to let you guys know, next week, there may not be a video that comes out. I am sorry. I will try to get a video out next week, but there are no guarantees because this weekend I'm flying out to LA. So I will try and see if I can get a video out for next week, but I can't guarantee it. But I will try. If not, I will see you guys the following week. Alright, you guys, so this week I'm going to be doing quick Q&A. I got 2 questions for y'all, and then the third one is what the story is going to be about. I am going to discuss, when have I ever, because I was asked this, lost absolute faith in my spiritual journey? Like, how did I overcome it? What did I experience? So that's what we're going to cover in this video, and then I'm also going to tell you guys what my task is. Finally, the day has come. You know, I've been kind of hoping you guys would know what my task is based off of my videos. Like, if you think outside of the box and you've watched a lot of my videos, hopefully you guys already know what my task is. But if not, I will answer it in this video anyways. So let's get into it. So the first question I was asked was about food on altars. So as you guys know, there are times when a shaman has to feed their guides. It's giving thanks to your guides. So this individual was asking me pretty much, you know, like, can they cover the food so that it stays warm? You know, and these questions, they sound kind of funny, but a lot of people genuinely do have these kind of questions. That's why. So like they wanted to know, like, how can we try to keep the food not dry out? Can we cover it so it stays warm for the spirits? How long do I leave it there? And so really, you guys, you don't cover your food, okay? Do not, whatever happens, do not cover the food. Spirits, they don't, it's the giving of the thanks. It's not in that sense. Like, you know, like how we would sit down and eat, right? I mean, our food eventually gets cold, but as soon as you start serving it, that's when it's happening, okay? So don't think it's like it takes hours for them to consume the food. Now, this food, as a standard rule of thumb, even if you're making a plate or food for like, you know, your ancestors, if you guys are giving thanks for food, or you're feeding, you know, a passed away loved one, the standard rule of thumb is 30 minutes. Okay, just leave the food there for 30 minutes before you clear it up, okay? And so you do the same thing with your altar if you're feeding your spirit guides. You also want to leave it out there for about 30 minutes. And obviously don't touch it again after you're done, okay? Do not go up there and try to put more food on there or nothing like that, okay? You literally just leave it. Nobody touch it for like 30 minutes. And then when it's done, the shaman will go back, clear everything up, okay? Now, really quickly, a funny story about feeding of the guides. So one time I went and did ceremony for somebody and I hung out at the house for too long. Okay, so this is why, if you guys ever notice at ceremonies, the shaman, as soon as they're done eating, they're in a rush to go back home. Okay, there's a reason for it. Because your guides are very antsy. They want to make sure you go home and you do your part of the bargain. So the part of the bargain is that this is why, you know, like when shamans go to ceremonies, they are typically given the jaw of the animal, and then they're also given some meat. Okay, so this represents you having to bring it home now, and some of the meat you have to cut it up and quickly boil it and make something fresh for your guides, and then you have to go and give thanks at the altar. Okay, so one time I spent too long and I didn't go do it on time. Okay, like because it was like probably 5 in the afternoon now. Okay, this is pretty late in the day. Okay, closer to like 6. Okay. And I remember I started at the house because I hadn't left yet to go home and, you know, give thanks to my guides. I started to get super drowsy. Like I was going to knock out where I was standing. It was kind of ridiculous. Like this is not a normal kind of tired that I would get. This was like, I'm about to knock out right now, like lose consciousness kind of tired. Okay. And as soon as I got home and I fed them, I felt completely fine, you guys. So, and the reason why my guides were making me so tired is because they're telling me over and over, go home. You need to go home. They're making me tired, so I will go home and feed them. So, you know, that's why a lot of shamans, they tend to rush after ceremonies because they have to go home. They have to. They can come back out later and hang out again if they needed to, okay? But they have to go home. All right, another question I was recently asked was about that weird feeling when I go to Egan. So this individual wanted me to go into like a little bit of detail explaining like, what is that feeling like? Do you have to be a shaman to only be able to get those kind of feelings? And no, absolutely not, you know. So anybody who can feel energies around in their environment and stuff, it's kind of like the whole feng shui, where you're like moving the room around, the furniture, to see if it feels good. Does it feel open? Does something seem kind of closed off? If you have any idea what I'm talking about, then you probably have the ability to feel things in your environment when you go places. Now, we're not talking smells, okay? Smells in general, that is one aspect. I mean, like you think about like stores like Target, or even if you go to like Nordstrom, right? They push scents in the air to make you feel like you want to buy things, okay? So like, that's not what I'm talking about either. Even though technically it's kind of like it, but it's not, okay? So the weird feeling that I get, it's kind of like, if you guys have ever felt where it seems like it's something out of a dream, like it doesn't seem real. When I go to Egan, I feel like I'm in a different place in time. Like, and I feel like there's something wrong. Like I shouldn't be there. So if you've ever had that kind of like weird feeling, like you go to a house or even like an office space or a store, and you just didn't like it. You just didn't like the feeling that was there. And it wasn't that anybody mistreated you or anybody gave you a dirty look or you had an altercation of any kind. You just have this weird feeling that something isn't right. And so that's what I feel when I go to Egan. I don't know why. And the funny thing about how I really developed my ability to feel environments, right? I get a lot of that, or I got a lot of that from the sun. So if you guys ever watched my hour-long Michael story on my other channel, that I'm too lazy to move over to this channel because it's an hour long. Okay, I wait for that to load. Things happened when the house was so beautiful because the sun would shine through the house. This is during daytime. A lot of ghostly activities would happen in broad daylight. And if you've ever gotten that feeling, and it happens a lot in the summertime for me, where you're walking in your house and it's quiet and maybe you're alone and the sun is just hitting through that window perfectly, and it looks almost magical. Like it feels like it's magical. And that's when ghostly stuff would always happen to me, okay? Like those perfect, picturesque movie scene moments where everything seems so beautiful, that's when ghostly stuff would happen. And I think I know why now. So a lot of times and I'll tell you guys this little story. I know I'm getting off topic, okay? Really quick. So sometimes there are people I know who really, really want to go ghost hunting, right? And they are super amped up and pumped up. They want to see this ghost. They can't see it because they are too energized and they're too zany, They're in that moment where they're like, face me, and then they can't see anything. So in those moments when everything was so picturesquely perfect, that's when everything kind of like my walls go down, I'm calm, and then poof, it pops out, the ghost. Okay, that's when things happen because I was in such a calm state, and that's when it always comes out. And I will say that a lot of times when you're not expecting it, that's when it comes out. Because when you have your walls up and you're like, no, I know something's here. Like you just know it. It will be afraid to come out. So if you were really inclined to see a ghost, you want to practice being calm, and that's when it'll come. Trust me, it'll come if that's what you want. Now, I always get people asking me about meditation. I'm not a meditator, y'all. I'm not. If I'm going to meditate, I fall asleep. Okay, so I have a lot of people who ask me questions about tips on meditating and stuff. I don't meditate. For Hmong shamans, when we go into our trance, literally it just hits us because our guides just take over. And you practice going into the spirit world so much at home because you're practicing staying in that state of mind. That's what it is. In a lot of videos, I have discussed basically what is that like? In your trance when you're going into the spirit world and you are basically hanging between falling asleep and being awake. It is that perfect moment where you're balancing because you basically, you are still aware and it's still you, but your mind has wandered and completely left your body. So you are prepared to handle all the tasks in front of you, but your body and everything is still going on. And if people are talking, you can still hear them, but you're kind of letting it go and pushing it all into the background. And it's pretty instantaneous for Hmong shamans when we go into our trance. We are not allowed to use any form of medication or drugs or even alcohol when we are practicing it because the spirit guides hate it. Y'all already know I smoke and I drink and they hate it. They absolutely hate it. Okay, so I was asked, have I ever experienced anything that made me lose utter faith and hope? And this was on my spiritual journey. How did I overcome it? And I know before I get into answering my question there, I know in general, a lot of people they start to lose faith in their abilities, especially if they find that they aren't finding the right answer to a question that's asked of them, or they give out the wrong information. Same thing with if they try to heal somebody and let's say that person wasn't healed, okay? So a lot of shamans, especially, it doesn't matter what phase you are in your levels as far as your journey, right? You could be just starting off. You could be super duper experienced and you're a master of tons of students, right? You can still come across these types of scenarios and situations, okay? A lot of times, usually there is an answer or an explanation for why something is happening the way it is. Same thing with the story of 3 that I've told you guys before in a long video ago. A video long ago. That's what I was trying to say. Anyways, so the power of 3. So a lot of times we recommend you go and seek out 3 shamans. And typically the law is 2 out of the 3 will be given the correct answer. The third one who did not have the correct answer, it doesn't mean that they aren't a shaman or like skilled or anything like that. It was just meant that they were meant to tell you the wrong thing, because you need to, a lot of times with shamanism, it's very subjective to the individual, you know, like how I told you guys about my video about, you know, trying to master your own arts and stuff and your abilities. When we see images, we don't necessarily know what that image means, but we're just getting this image over and over and over, right? So a lot of times you need to ask the individual, what the heck is this? I keep saying it, you know, like, because that's the only way, because that image isn't meant for us, but we just happen to be the person who can get that image, you know? So that's what it's about. So I think for a lot of people, even if they are finding that they can't find the answers, it could be an ability you don't have. Or it could be an ability you need to really focus on and work at because you're still not there. And, you know, it's really just you. A lot of this, it comes with practice and time. Like even if the spirits show and tell me exact story, right? I still doubt the heck out of it, okay? Because I'm not trusting. I'm a skeptic, okay? Like I always, in my sessions with people, I always give them a warning, you know, like whatever I tell you, this is strictly from what I'm seeing and what I'm gathering and from my spirits. I do not expect or hold it against you that you need to believe in me, because I want people to question everything. Like I question everything, you know, like, I mean, that is your opportunity. You should, and everything should make sense to you, or else what did you gain out of this, you know? So then it just happened. I don't know how it happens, you guys. I can't explain magic. Okay, like it just happens where it made utter sense to everybody around me. And I was like, I don't know. That's just what I'm seeing. That's just what I'm hearing. Because it doesn't apply to me and my story, you know, but it applies to the individual because they're asking. So, you know, it really just, I've learned to just, well, it is what it is. Like this is what I was told, you know, like, you cannot be so hard on yourself because, yeah, you're going to go down a deep rabbit hole of like losing faith in everything. And that can really ruin your relationship with your guides. And I notice I say guides a lot without putting the spirit guides part in front of it. So yeah, whenever I say guides, I'm referring to your spirit guides. And we'll get into the next part here where I answer my question about the experience of me losing utter faith and how I overcame it. So I did a video about my teacher, and in that video I did divulge a lot of information about how I learned so much from my teacher. And it wasn't like she was teaching me, it was things that I was observing that was happening in her life, you know. So I think like the biggest issue for me when I was a practicing shaman in the community was just how toxic the whole shaman community really is, y'all. It is toxic. Like, everybody needs Jesus, okay? Like, just go to church. Like, and what really struck me was seeing great shamans who have the right heart, They are really trying to help people. And then they fall from grace, you know, so falling from grace, that's really, you know, the more powerful you become, the more well-known you become. I mean, powerful in itself is so subjective. What do you consider powerful as a shaman? Some people only value psychic shamans. Some people only value those who can bring people back from the brink of death. I just thought of all this stuff when I said that. I'm sorry. I was like, but they don't know what they're giving up and all the bad stuff. Okay. But they choose weird times to give me lessons, you guys. But, you know, like shamans who have too much of an ego or who develop an ego, you know, like you guys will, anybody who is in the Hmong community, you'll know that it is very hard to find a trusting shaman. I mean, even that is like, what? Like, because a lot of people aren't aware that shamans do spend a great deal of their time trying to hurt one another. They just do. That's okay, that part alone, yeah. Okay, like, and so it is very toxic. And my family and I, we were just having this conversation that a lot of things will change with the newer generations. Because I feel like when this is all that somebody has, they will do anything to keep it. Same thing with if they were raised to be very rigid in their thinking. It is very, very hard for them to break out of it. And a part of me, I can't even blame them, you know, because that is how they were raised, you know, and that's all that they know. And yeah, people can try and teach them, but that individual, again, can choose not to learn, can choose to throw everybody else away, you know, because they don't care. Their ego is that big, okay? Like, I've known hugely egotistical people, okay? Yeah, that's right. It all made sense in that word, hugely, okay? I mean, that aside, you can become insanely wealthy being a shaman. Insanely wealthy, you guys. You have no idea the amount of money machine a shaman can be. I mean, like, everything's done in cash, you know, like, there's no check card services here. Okay, it's straight cash. And I'm talking thousands of dollars here, you guys. And if you're just charging to see somebody, I mean, the line is out the door. Like, it's, especially if you become well known. That's just part of the deal. Now, granted, some lineages, they charge a lot more than other lineages. So it is just, it's up to the people. Like, nobody is forcing them to go to these shamans. They are choosing to spend their money. And I mean, I have never spent that kind of money. Okay, the most expensive amount I've ever spent on a shaman is my teacher. That's it. But, you know, like, I have had people try to throw thousands of dollars at me. And when I tell them, don't ever offer thousands of dollars to any shaman, I mean, it's not really my place to say that either, because I'm not the one who needs the help, right? I don't know. I'm not that desperate. So what would happen if one day I was that desperate? What would I do? You know, give them one of my Vutastic bags? Possibly. And then the Hmong shaman world is filled with politics. Clans are crazy, man. That's all I gotta say. Clans are crazy. So through all of that, like, I witnessed a lot of this through my teacher and the crazy stuff that she went through. I went through crazy stuff too, but nowhere near on her level. Like, I remember when I came in, I didn't know. She was like at the peak of her shaman career. The peak. Okay, this is like, the whole world couldn't get enough of her. And then I witnessed her biggest fall. And I mean, I had just put my shrine down when this incident happened. And if I ever write my autobiography, okay, if I ever finish my autobiography, this was like a mind-blowing moment where I was like, How could you all betray each other so much? So I was already out of that community, you know, like, what are my 2 cents worth at this point? I mean, I just couldn't believe it. And so it's just, that was definitely, for me, I lost a lot of faith in people, where you realize just how evil and corrupt people can be. Like, I mean, y'all have to be in it to be like, it's like you can't even make these things up because it is so insane. Now, for myself, when I put my shrine down, I knew I needed a break from this toxic community, from dealing with all the drama, and I wanted to just live a normal life. You know, I was going to take a hiatus, take some time off, and then some. And I know one day I will raise my shrine again, but I don't know what that will look like. Like, will I go back to my shaman lineage roots? Will I call my guides down and just live peacefully? Like, I still haven't justified why I want to do this at this point, because I'm living such a good life. Okay, like, now I'm going to tell you guys about how I started to do my YouTube channel, right? Because I noticed I haven't actually gone into why I started doing my YouTube channel in general, other than I'm here for a task. So I'll get into that, because it wasn't fun, I'll tell you that. So during this time, I was living on my own, and I had my own apartment, and I started seeing a demon lady. Now, here's the thing. She never ever spoke to me, because I would ask her, what the hell do you want? Because she followed me all the time. She kept appearing. And this is when I put my shrine down. I've had several years now a few years, like 3. And I was no longer practicing. I was living my jolly life. And this creepy demon lady kept appearing and following me around. And she, every time, like, my eyes are open or closed, I would see her all of the time. It started to drive me crazy. To the point, this is where, okay, to the point where I finally called some of my guides back down to me. Lo and behold, she disappeared. Okay, like, that's some bullshit. Okay, that's some bullshit. Okay, like, yes. So this demon lady, I have asked my guides, like, was that y'all? Did y'all send that to me on purpose? And they said no, they never sent that to me. So then I said, who did? And they told me it was my father. And you guys know by now, okay, I don't do anything unless I'm, like, forced into it. Either it's bodily harm or I'm scared to death, okay? So a lot of times I would see spirits, right? They don't scare me. But this demon lady kept following me around. So then that's when I got scared. I was scared enough to call some of my guides down. And then once I called my guides down, I started to do my YouTube channel to pacify all of the issues that would come up if I didn't raise my shrine. You see, I'm a big fan of loopholes. Now, if you guys haven't figured out yet why I have a YouTube channel and what my task is, okay, so let me know what y'all think my task is in the comments below. Because, pause the video if you need to. My task is meant to bridge the new generation with shamanism. I am not here to start a cult. I am not here to have followers for shamanism. I am not here to even have 1 million students, you guys. I'm not even here to convince you guys about shamanism. I am meant to help Hmong people remember their roots. So it's not about, you know, don't go to church. Okay, like, there's a lot of issues with any religion. And I'm not a fan of forcing anybody to follow anything they don't want to. I am supposed to be here to help the new generation who do need the help. And then for those who don't know anything about shamanism, this shouldn't be a big secret, you guys. It should not be a big secret the way it is. The reason why it's a secret is because of everything I had listed earlier in this video. We as Hmong people can be so successful with shamanism if you really genuinely just help one another. But people can't, y'all. And a part of it, and this is my family and I, we were having this whole discussion. And I told them that things will change with Hmong shamanism as far as how toxic it currently is or was. I mean, granted, I think honestly a few years ago it was probably worse. It was worse, okay? Like, but then again, I feel like because I was in it, it was so bad. But, you know, the older generation, they are passing. And who are they leaving all of their knowledge and all their magic with? Nobody, okay? Like, and if they do, it is so secretive. And literally, you have to pay a lot of money. Now, granted, there's a lot of things I cannot teach you guys through my videos, okay? I'm well aware of that. But what I can share, and this is just my beliefs. I'm not even trying to convince y'all to believe in it, because these are all my experiences and my memories and what I know. And so I am meant to help bridge that it's not this scary, okay, it kind of is. Like, but it's not, you know, like, we're so Americanized. We don't live in the jungles and mountains anymore. Hmong people have come so far. We are so successful now. And when you live in a modernized world and time, why do you need shamanism? Why do you need to believe in magic? Okay, we have modern science and modern medicine. We have education. You don't need it, right? But shamanism is not going away from our people. It's not. Even if you have children with another race, it is not going to go away. All right? I mean, what do you think witches came from? You know, like, do you think it only stuck with one type of person or one type of people? Or it's not, it's just who we are. It's in our bloodline. So you can't escape it, okay? Because I have a niece who is half Korean. And she can see spirits because she cannot run away from what is in our bloodline. It is who we are. Even if you go to church, you're still going to have certain inflictions from spirit guides, right? It doesn't mean you have to be a shaman. But that's the thing. A lot of people, they're not aware enough. You need to wake up. Because shamanism, the way even I was taught, the traditional roots and the traditional way, a lot of the stuff, it has to do with tradition. But I am proof, you guys, that you can be a shaman. And yeah, technically I put my shrine down, but you can live a really good life without having to do everything the way you're supposed to or the way you were taught. Because if I had a teacher, right? It's completely possible, but a lot of people don't know how to hone the gifts correctly so that they can be successful and not go crazy. Because remember, y'all, if you have spirit guides, you will go crazy. Okay, like, people forget you can go crazy because of your spirit guides. Like, literally crazy, okay? They can drive you insane. And you have to, as a shaman, even if you don't accept it in the traditional aspect, you have to learn how to bridge, connect, and overcome it. You have to. Nobody can do it for you. So if you feel and you know it, you have guides, but there ain't no way you're going to be a practicing shaman, you need to learn how to bridge that and how to control it, because they will control you. They will, trust me. I know, okay? Now, I know that no one could have ever convinced me of shamanism or even to believe in shamanism, that it was real. I literally had to go through it. And in the end, it's just your own spiritual journey. If you choose to help people, you choose to help people. But if you choose not to, you don't have to. So again, a lot of it is really just the mental health of that shaman. And it's okay. Like, I'm here to just tell you guys it's okay. We are so modernized. I mean, I didn't even grow up in the Hmong community, y'all, and I still got chosen as a shaman. But I'm more than okay, you know, and so, but I do know, even with all of that, and even though I am living very peacefully, I do know, because I can see it very clearly, I will be raising a shrine in the future. I just don't know what exactly all the details will entail, because it's what I'm okay with. What am I willing to accept? What am I willing to do? Because you can ask me a question and my guides will a lot of times answer if they feel like it, especially if they really like you. They will answer. But to really see things and have a one-on-one session, I would need my shrine. And there will never, demons and ghosts will never go away, you know? So it's kind of like, what need is there? Because right now, I'm totally content that there are other shamans out there who can totally offer you guys those services. There is no real reason I have to raise my shrine and I have to be practicing for the community, right? And yeah, a big part of it is, you know, I don't want to, but, you know, there's a lot of shamans out there. And I will tell you guys that there are a lot of shamans who do want to just genuinely help and not be bothered by everything I just listed. You know, like the egos, the power hungry trips, the ones who send you bad things all the time because they love to, okay? There are a lot of shamans who genuinely want to help the community and want to help other people. And even though we are Hmong and we're shamans, you know, we can help those who are not Hmong. Like, I have been asked this quite a bit, you guys. Anything that has a spirit, it's touchable in the spirit world. Even if it's a different religion, even if it's in a different country. There are different rules, though, that do apply. And you have to know those rules, but your guides have to tell you those rules. So, but it's all possible and connectable in the spirit world. But, you know, it's just, I think that a lot of time has to pass. And things have to change. Where shamans, they aren't fearful of, you know, going out to the public, being open. You know, I wish that there were more shamans on YouTube who, even if they talked about how hard they're struggling, because I want people to know it's okay. You're not alone. You're gonna go through this. This is exactly what happens. Like, because when we were younger, all these OGs were just shamans and we didn't know how it became or how it happened. So it's, and I've mentioned before, being a shaman is extremely lonely. And so hopefully one day things will change and people will be more open. But it's just right now, I feel that there is still a lot of things that hold people back. And it's okay that if they are afraid to step out into the light, you know, or something corny like that. But, you know, like, that's generally what I mean, though. But there are so many people who have knowledge and things to share, but sometimes they're just not comfortable because they may feel they don't have the right answers, or they are still struggling and they don't really know what to do either. But it's supposed to be okay. And one day, my hope is that all the Hmong shamans don't know each other so well, where it leads to that negativity, that jealousy. Now, to answer the last question, how did I overcome this? So my guides actually helped me overcome all of my issues there. Everything I had, like everything I had listed, that, you know, it really, really was disheartening to see a lot of evil, crazy people, right? They teach and show me a lot of things. And so it's my knowledge for myself on how I overcame all of that. You know, like that kind of stuff, it's just normal, you know, like now in my head. But back then I was very, very much so like, what the heck is wrong with all these people? Like, you guys really need someone to love you, because there's no way people can be this evil. Like, just, it's not possible. But I will say though that when a shaman is down, their guides are meant to be there. That's their job. It's meant to pick their shaman up. But when a shaman's guides are down, it is the shaman who needs to pick them up. So as a shaman, if you have guides who are down, and when I say that, it could be, you know, they could be emotionally and physically injured or unhappy or anything like that, you will feel it when you try to go into the spirit world. You won't go anywhere, or you won't go far. I'll tell you that. So you as a shaman, you need to figure out how to raise them back up, because your guides, they do that for you when you as a shaman are feeling really down. And that's why I say I talk to spirits when I'm stressed, because they literally help me through it all. They show me a lot of things. They explain a lot of things so that I can become okay, because that's what's going to make them be okay. So that's kind of how I overcame everything. It's a very, very long answer, but that's how I overcame everything. And I mean, for me, I think because I can hear them and I can see them and they can do all these things, right? That it is easier for me to adjust, for me to accept, and for me to move on and grow. But for a lot of people, you need to really go back to your roots and figure out what's important to you. Like, what are you okay with? And, I've also mentioned that in another video. You have to really know yourself. You really do. And even if you become disheartened, well, that's the way the world works. Okay? Like, it is. You can't change that. And then other people were like, if this is the dream, why would we choose to be like, go back to the heavens or anything like that? Because, and here's the thing, this right now is my dream. It's not going to be everybody's dream. Like, being born here as a human, this is my dream because of my role in the spirit world. It's extremely lonely and boring. Okay, so this is what I want to do, but I'm not allowed to have this kind of like all these connections that I'm making with people and stuff. I'm not allowed to have that. Like, I have too much work to do. So that's what I mean by being alive now here. This is my dream. Like, even though it's not like I live in a grand palace, okay, but it's enough. It is my sense of freedom. Like, this is where I'm getting my freedom, because I know when I go back, it's not that I'm not free. There's just a lot of things that people don't know about that makes it very constricting. I mean, you kind of think about like emperors or like kings and queens, right? You think they have the world because they have so much power, because they have so much luxury. It's not that easy. It's actually really, really rather depressing. It just is. You have a lot more worries. Like, the higher up you go, the more responsibilities you have. And it's not as carefree and fun. Like, I mean, I frequently get asked, even though I've made it as far as I have in my career, I always get asked, what was my favorite job? My favorite job, to this day, was working at McDonald's. Because it was a different time. I had an amazing team. We had the opening shift, the mid shift, and then we have the night shift, right? Who closes? Because back then McDonald's weren't open 24 hours, okay? I was getting like $6.50 an hour. Okay, like, it was a different time, man. I was just so happy working at McDonald's. Like, even though, yeah, I hated the fry station. Everybody got put on the fry station when you started. I really excelled at that job. I would always get tips, and my manager wouldn't let me keep my tips. And I'm just like, why? I'm getting $6.50 an hour. But, like, because it wasn't proper protocol, because nobody else on the team was getting tips. I'm like, well, if they smiled like me, they probably would. But yeah, my favorite job I've ever had was working at McDonald's. It was just, it's not even about being in the food industry. I do really well in customer service positions, but I had a lot of fun working with the team members, and that's what really makes the environment, so it's about that kind of simple freedom. And then when you take it all away, and then now you're like in charge of so many things, your vacations aren't even a vacation because you're still stressed, you know? So, all right, you guys. I know I won't be able to make a video for next week. I'm sorry, but I will try. I will try to make a video for next week. Crossing fingers, man. Crossing fingers. But I will update you guys on social media. So I'll talk to you guys next time.